The conversation is about Congress, and we see a rather strange family. In this family, when the lady's daughter Lala tells her that their bird has died, instead of focusing on the bird, she immediately heads towards a secret room. This room was in the basement. As they were entering the room, the woman's husband was extremely frightened, and I think there was good reason to be. The room they entered had a pyramid inside, and beside it was a secret door. When they go inside through that door, they find themselves among thousands of years old. They see a coffin there, and as they open it, we see a mummy inside. Upon seeing the mummy, the woman starts chanting some incantations, and as soon as the mummy awakens, strange things begin to happen. The chain and hook that had been used to bind the coffin suddenly fly towards the girl's husband, and he is immediately killed on the spot. After all this, the scene cuts, and we are introduced to another character, Charlie. Charlie loves his daughter very much, whose name is Katie. The two of them are playing together. Then, during her brother's experiment, Katie becomes very upset when her doll breaks, and she decides that she will go play alone in the garden. In the garden, she is called by the same strange lady we saw at the start of the movie. The lady introduces herself as Layla's mom. Katie runs off. She used to play with her daughter Layla, but it had been quite a few days since she had come. Katie asks Layla's mom where Layla is. Her mom replies, but today she tells Katie to come to her, as she has something to give her and wants to show her some magic. At this time, Katie was feeling sad, so she goes to the woman. The woman first shows her something magical, and then offers her something to eat, and then she gives her an apple and says, "Please forgive me for what I am about to check." After that, she wants to perform some strange and bizarre enchantments, so she goes to read an incantation, and here, the thing in her hand was the apple. As soon as Katie takes a bite of the apple, a slimy insect like a snake comes out from inside and crawls away. Despite all this, the lady does not stop chanting her spells. Katie starts to feel a lot of pain and even faints. After that, the lady takes Katie and runs away from there. When Katie's dad, Charlie, doesn't hear her voice, he goes out to look for her, but he can't find her anywhere. He even goes out onto the main road to search for Katie, and he sees a lady holding a child in her arms. That is, the same woman. He realizes that the woman is kidnapping his daughter and running away. He starts chasing after his daughter, but suddenly a terrible storm arises, and both of them get separated in the storm. He tries very hard to find her, but neither he nor the police officers are able to find her until 4 years pass since Katie disappeared, but her mother still hasn't recovered from the shock of losing Katie. We learn that just a few days after Katie went missing, they had another daughter, but her arrival did not fill the void left by Katie. The scene then cuts, and we are shown a boy near the forest. Suddenly, he sees a plane crash behind him, and when he reaches the crash site, he finds that both pilots have died. Seeing their condition, he gets very scared and starts running away into the jungle. Right in the middle, he sees a coffin exactly like the one we saw at the start of the movie. He informs the police officers about this, and then research begins on this coffin. But instead of finding an ancient mummy inside, what comes out in the form of a mummy is actually a living. They find her inside. When the wrappings are removed from her, it turns out that she is none other than Katie herself, who had been alive in that coffin for the past 4 years. When Katie's mom and dad hear the news, they rush to the hospital. But there, before letting them see Katie, the doctors give them a warning that no one should have a negative reaction upon seeing her. Because she had been living in a coffin for 4 years, her skin had become severely damaged, and her hands and feet had become twisted. At this time, any negative reaction could make her condition even worse, and she needs a lot of care. When her mother sees her, she is devastated to see her daughter in such a state and hugs her tightly. It is revealed that the officer named Jackie, who was handling the case, had previously done everything possible to find Katie, and now, seeing Katie's case take such a turn, she was extremely shocked as well. She comes to Katie's house to talk, and tells Katie's dad that the coffin in which Katie was kept was almost 400 or 500 years old, and that people often use old things to hide their crimes. Katie's dad tells her that he will fully support her in this case. He insists that, no matter what, the person who did this to his daughter must be caught. She reassures him that she will definitely find the culprit. That is why these people. They now bring Katie back home, and as soon as they arrive, Katie's grandmother tries to perform a holy ritual on her. But because of this, it's unclear what happens to Katie. Her behavior becomes very strange, and she starts making bizarre noises. She is sent away because her mother gets scared seeing her like that. And they give her an injection right there, and it's revealed here that Charlie's mother was also a journalist and was very good at investigations. She starts gathering all the information she has received and begins to look into the case herself. Seeing all these things, she becomes very confused, wondering who could have done all this and what their motive might be. On the other hand, we are shown Katie being cared for lovingly, and when her father comes to check on her, he sees that Katie is not on the bed at all. Both of them become extremely anxious and start searching for Katie everywhere. They find Katie climbing up on top of something. She was running away from them, scared of them. They try to calm her down, but here, no one is being ignored. She had already started pursuing her prey. At this point, she sees a very large screw, grabs it, and tries to stab herself with it. Seeing this, both her mom and dad become very frightened and try to pull it out of her mouth with their hands. When they do this, But this vomit was not normal either. In her vomit, a sticky green liquid comes out, which was not normal at all, and seeing it, they become even more anxious. The next day, Katie's mom and grandma start bathing her. Her nails had grown very large, almost like those of some entity. When her mom tries to cut them, they are extremely strong, but even so, when she cuts them, not only do the nails come off, but the skin from her fingers also peels away. Katie's mom thinks that Katie must have felt a lot of pain, but there was nothing like that. She didn't feel any pain. In fact, it was as if she found comfort in this pain. She then gets up from the wheelchair, knocking everyone aside, and heads to the kitchen. There, she grabs a knife and starts injuring her own feet with it. Here, when Katie's mom and Trent try to stop her, she attacks both of them and runs away. Fortunately, Charlie returned just in time. Somehow, he managed to catch Katie and tried to calm her down, then tended to her injured feet himself. No one could understand Katie's behavior. Charlie, says that they should take Katie back to the hospital for a few days, but this suggestion makes Katie's mom even more upset. She becomes very emotional and tries to talk to Katie. Katie hadn't said anything for all these days. After a long time, she finally reacts and spits in their face, but even then, her mother doesn't get angry because at least Katie responded to something she said. At night, Katie's dad comes to see her, and here, getting emotional, he starts crying and apologizing to Katie. He says, "If only I hadn't left you alone in the garden that day, you would be with me today completely fine. Everything that happened to us, all that you had to endure for so many years, it's all because of me." At this moment, we realize that Katie was able to speak, but here she starts moving her teeth in a strange and peculiar way. The way she moves her teeth is very odd. Her dad remembers that as a child, she wanted to become an expert in Morse code and always used to practice it. In this way, she is trying to tell him something through Morse code. He notes down all the Morse code signals. And when he decodes it, he finds out the name Lala Halil Namgan. This could be a very big lead in the case. That's why he immediately calls Saki and tells her about it. Now, the real question here is, who exactly is this? So Charlie says, "Look, you would know better about this. Was there any Lala in Katie's life, maybe a friend, an acquaintance, or a teacher?" Hearing this, she says, "Search all this information and tell me." Then he goes upstairs and starts checking all the letters they had received after Kitty disappeared. Among those letters, there was also one from Lena Khalil, and on this letter was the same choco chip that the lady had given to Katie that day. And you might remember, that lady had said she was Lahia's mom, but nothing could be confirmed about the mechanic yet. Feeling uneasy, Katie senses someone outside her room. It turns out that it's her younger sister. In a very local accent, she starts calling her over to her. It was the first time she was speaking, and her sister was also impressed by this. She goes near her room and, startled, talks to Kitty and says, "I'll go and tell Mom about this." Kitty replies, "No, not yet. I want to surprise Mom." As soon as she says this, she touches her foot under the door, and when she sees her skin, Molly is shocked. She gets scared and tries to run away from there, and then we are shown that from the jeep, she picks her up and sticks her right back to that same door, and in reality it wasn't inside someone else but it was inside Katie herself. On the other hand, we are shown that Saki had also been working day and night on this case, and she had found out a lot about Layla Khalil. While searching for Layla Khalil, they reach a certain Layla Khalil. There were many fields in her estate where apples were grown, and she remembers that when Katie disappeared, the apple she had eaten was found in the garden. It was someone from there who had fed her the apple. It must be that same Layla Khalil, so she immediately goes into those fields, and in the middle of the fields, she sees a house. This is the same house we saw at the start of the movie. They go inside this house, which is in very bad condition. She keeps searching inside the house and finally finds a secret door which leads her to that permit we saw earlier. On it, There is a human skeleton and a spider hybrid kind of design, and around it are the same chains. When she checks them, she finds yet another secret door. So the sound was coming from the basement. When she goes inside that secret passage, she doesn't see anything there. There was a place to keep a lot of money, and this was the same money that had been taken from here at the very start of the movie. As soon as this bunker opens, on the other side, the other person, who wasn't home at the time, finds out that the bunker has been opened. He rushes, driving quickly, and reaches the house, his eyes filled with rage, ready to attack the intruder, but she senses his arrival and, in order to save herself, although she didn't want to, because she needed to investigate him, but to save her own life, she had to confront him. Before she could do anything else, another girl appears there. Seeing Saki, the girl tries to run away, but as she flees, Saki catches her. We see that when the girl raises her hands, she is holding a box. She had just dug it up from the ground. When Saki holds the girl at gunpoint and opens the box, she finds a case inside with KTSA written on it. She asks her, "Who is Layla Khalil, you or someone else?" The girl replies, "I am Layla Khalil." The scene cuts off here. It is shown that at this time his grandmother was with him. She was reciting holy verses over him to heal him, but this makes someone extremely angry. That person throws her away from their property and then starts strangling her with her own locket. In the end, they push her out the window. Hearing the sound of the window breaking, Chipatet's team comes running. They see that his mother has died after falling out of the window, and witnessing all this, he is shattered. On the other hand, we are shown Jackie, who is very... Now, she was continuously trying to contact Charlie, but since Charlie was busy at the funeral, she couldn't get through. She then decides to watch the video she got from Lala Khalil herself, and there she sees something. For some reason, this makes her extremely angry, and she goes to kill Layla. She asks Layla, "Tell me, why did you do all this to that poor girl?" She was forcing her to speak, but instead of answering, Layla shows her tongue, which makes the video... Whatever was happening in the video, Saki couldn't understand the language, but this girl could understand it, though she couldn't translate and speak it out loud. So Saki tells her to write everything down on paper. Lala, who could barely speak, manages to tell Saki with her faltering tongue that behind all these things, it was my own mother. She says, "I have already found out the truth about her, and when I tried to tell people about it, she cut out my tongue." Now everyone realized that everything that had happened was not done by Kat. That's why now. There were 3 locks put on Katie's door, and even then someone would sit outside with a toy or something to make sure Katie didn't do anything. Now, Tali's son comes in front of them and tells them, "You take some rest, I'll sit here for a while." After taking the keys, Katie doesn't even spare her brother and uses her energy to possess him. It's shown below that the finale wasn't over yet. Dee Dee breaks through the floor and comes down, and as soon as she arrives, she possesses her sister Mooley. Then she goes to her grandmother, who is dead. With the help of an axe, she breaks her grandmother's tooth and puts it in her own mouth. Seeing all this, her mother is left completely shocked. After that, right there, Mooley attacks a man, knocks him down, and is about to bite him when people catch her and say goodbye to her. Everyone's attention turns to Mooley, and no one pays attention to Katie, who has freed herself and come downstairs. She goes inside her grandmother's coffin and starts chewing on her grandmother's corpse. When everyone sees this scene, they are very... At this time, everyone was busy restraining Mooley. But who was watching over Katie? Now, Charlie quickly finishes the funeral and then ties Eddie to a chair, sitting right in front of him to keep an eye on him. Meanwhile, we see that his son had also become half paralyzed. Because of Katie, everyone was extremely troubled. At some point, the police arrive at their house with all the evidence they had gathered against Charlie. They had actually found out what really happened. When all these things are told and shown to Charlie, he is left stunned. How could anyone perform such a horrific ritual on an innocent child? The video clearly showed that he and a devil cult were involved, people who would offer new bodies to the devil to keep him alive for 16 years. And for this purpose, they would always offer the bodies of young children so that the process of changing bodies wouldn't have to be done too frequently. This is what they had forcefully placed Katie on top of that mummy, the same mummy we saw at the start of the movie. After that, Suraj performed some kind of magic, and all the black energy from the mummy entered Katie. Now, they were able to understand why Katie had done all those things. They realized that, at this time, Katie herself was no longer inside her body. Something else had taken over. While they were watching the video, Katie was already carrying out her plan. She put her brother in her position and freed herself, escaping from there. Seeing this, everyone tried to control her. She comes closer, but she was not under anyone's control. She was floating in the air and at this moment, showing everyone her true power. Saki tries to approach her to control her, but Katie throws Saki down the stairs, knocking her unconscious. She even throws her own mom away from her. Now, Charlie tries to control her. Charlie uses all his strength to pin her down, and while he's holding her down, the entity inside Katie realizes that Katie's body is too small to contain it, so it tries to transfer itself into Charlie. After that, both Charlie and Katie lose consciousness. Now, since they all knew about the procedure that had happened with Katie, they also understood how to control a person possessed by a devilish entity. They had to keep that person bound inside a coffin. That's why they put Charlie's body into a coffin, and Katie recovers completely. But she loved her dad very much. She always used to stay close to her dad. She went into shock. Because of her, her dad ended his own life. Although he was a very good journalist, she wanted to become just like her dad. She would always sit on the coffin in her skirt talking to her dad, and that would make her happy. Seeing this, her mom felt a deep pity for her and she... Now together with Saki, they come up with a big plan. Here, we learn a major plot point of the movie. The day Saki fired the shot, she didn't die. She survived, received treatment, and recovered. Now the people in the prison decide that she should be punished for what she did. That's why, one day, Charlie's wife brings Charlie to the same prison where that woman, upon seeing the man, becomes frightened and understands their intentions. Now these people, along with her, were about to do the same thing to her that she had done to many others before. At this time, she was terrified, and as she is shown in this state of fear, the movie ends here. It leaves us with the hope that they gave that woman the punishment she deserved for her actions, that the entity was locked away in the boarding, and that Charlie also fell into depression.